Welcome to the only Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group's guide to the Marvel Comics of the Week. As always, I am Phil Parrish, and joining me is...
Charlie, yes, sir.
Alright, we'll jump in. I will begin. I'll start with the Wolverine block. I'll start with all new Wolverine number 14. Enemy of the State 2. Yeah. So remember, the planes were dousing the town with the trigger scent so Laura would go crazy.
Yes. And she goes on a massacre.
Well, so guess who shows up? Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D.
New Nick.
Yes, new Nick Fury.
Actually, I guess technically only current Nick Fury.
Yes.
All other Nick Furies have been moved to the moon.
So they come in, when Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. come in, they kind of take Laura into custody, especially one S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who gets punchy with her.
That never ends well.
Yeah, exactly. But they get her on the plane. She says no. She tells them what happens, and there's these three water bombers, and so Fury sends. He has like 2 planes up, and they're following them until the 3.
So has she not murdered anyone yet?
Oh no, she murdered everyone.
Oh, okay.
But she's saying, no, it's not my fault. They gassed me. And so Fury's planes follow the water bombers, and they fly into some big flying fortress thing.
Wait, so the water bombers were still hanging around?
No, they were like flying out over the sea to, I guess, meet up with this big floating fortress thing.
Oh, so basically, after she murdered everyone, then they caught up with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, these big water bombers, and then Nick Fury says, "Are there any water bombers out there?" And say, "Well, yeah, there happens to be 3 over there."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So before they saw them dock on this big flying fortress, which destroys the 2 planes. But I guess before they're destroyed, they let them know that there was a flag on the big flying fortress thing, the flag of Madripoor.
Madripoor.
Yeah.
That's one of those, 17 countries ruled by supervillains.
Well, so basically they can't go, Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. can't go in and investigate or do anything about it. So Laura's like, you can't let them just get away. So she breaks free and basically, well, she grabs a gun and they're like, no, you can't shoot that in here. You'll decompress the whole plane. She goes, good, hang on to something. Blows the side of the plane and just falls out.
Oh, boy.
And then she goes back to the cabin where her and her clone Gabby were staying. She tells Gabby she's going to Madripoor. She can't come with her. And Gabby's like, no, I'm your clone, so I'm as stubborn as you are.
Okay.
But she's like, everyone's looking for us, so we can't fly. We can't call in. She even says she can't call in her boyfriend Angel because they're watching him. So, so they make it the docks of San Francisco with a lady pirate, I guess, who's going to sneak them in the Madripoor, who has a history with Laura. But Gabby's just like, a pirate. She's like, do you have a peg leg? She's like, no. She's like, can I still say R? What?
So that's racist.
Against pirates?
Yeah.
Well, she's a child. She doesn't know.
I know, I'm just saying. Pirate Americans have suffered enough in this country. This country was founded by pirates. Never forget that.
But yeah, so that was it, and then they show like the mastermind waiting in Madripoor, who somehow knows Laura's coming, I guess, because they knew if they pushed her button she would show up. But it was good. All new Wolverine 14. Give it a thumbs up.
Yay.
And like I said, I'll do the Wolverine block, so I'll go to Old Man Logan number 13.
So first young woman Logan, now old man Logan.
That's right. Part 5, the last part of The Last Ronin.
Hey.
So basically, in the present, remember Old Man Logan and Lady Deathstrike were like stuck down this well or whatever with the monk kid, who's the one this the Silent Order was like basically worshiping, and Logan's like, send the rope down and get us out of here, or I'll hurt the kid, and the the leader of the Silent Order is like, no, you're not going to do it. And Lady Death strikes, well, then I will. And they're like, okay, send the rope down. So they get out, but then, I don't know, the kid unleashes his powers. There's like a big explosion, and then he looks like a big mutated creature thing.
Oh my.
He's like, you'll kill me and all this. And he's like, Logan's telling him he won't hurt him, and the Silent Order's like, yeah, no, he will. Logan must die. So then they like stab him through the stomach with a bunch of spears.
Because if he remembers the Logan who kills him in the future, he knows that's a younger Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is clearly an older Logan. So first off, killing older Logan isn't going to save you from future Logan.
Well, the guy running the Silent Order doesn't seem like the deepest thinker.
It seems it.
I know, but yeah. Well, then I don't know. I was gonna say flashback, but is it a flashback if it's in the future?
Based on the idea of individual timelines, yes, it is a flashback because it is within the individual overarching time structure. You know, if you, especially when you think about the idea of sliding time, you know, if time is always moving forward, then time actually also exists within a three-dimensional space, so that you can actually put in a relativistic timeline. Because of course, if time is part of space, then relativity likewise applies to time as it does to space, meaning that your observation of time is based on yourself, and as such, you can always imagine yourself as a stationary observer in time. So all time happens relative to you, so you cannot actually go back and forward in time. Time moves around you. And so, yes, it is a flashback because it's in Logan's past, which is in other people's theoretical future.
So, yes.
That's your temporal dynamics for today, kids.
That's right. But in the future flashback, they show Old Man Logan and Maureen. They must have just escaped the Silent Order, and she tells him she's pregnant. And basically, you know, he says he's not Wolverine. You know, he'll never be Wolverine again, and you know, he wants to start a life with her, and she's like, how can we bring a baby into this? The world's basically dead. And he's like, well, we can't save the world, but we can save our little piece of it. Yeah, exactly. So basically, back in the present, Silent Order saying, let's kill Logan, and Logan's like, no. He's like, tells the kid, he says, you know, look into my head, you'll see I'm telling the truth. And it basically just confuses the kid. He's like, but he's come back. He was there, now he's here. I don't understand. And Logan says he barely understands any of it. He's like, you got a choice. He's like, you can stay with them and let them decide what your future will be, or you can choose your own way. So the kid looks like he blows everything up, but when Logan asks him if the Silent Order's dead, he says no. So I don't know if he just like knocks them out or something.
This order is bigger than one kid. I don't know.
Yeah, and the kid's like, he's like, where you come from? You said you know other kids like me, children who are different. And Logan's like, yeah, a whole house full of them, a big mansion. You'll love it there, I promise.
Oh, till it gets blown up next week.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had to pick a fight with the Inhumans.
But yeah, and then the issue ends with a last flashback of him and Maureen, I guess. Looks like months from how pregnant she looks here. Looks like months later after the last flashback. I guess they just find their house. I mean, they fix it up, but the house they lived in, they must just find it.
Well, maybe Logan's a handy guy. He could build, a basic Adobe house.
Well, it looks like the house is already there, but they're like, oh, look, it looks like it needs a lot of work, but
Oh, okay. So they found a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's after the end of the world. Half the world is dead. There's lots of houses just laying around.
That's true.
Oh.
But another good issue is it's a thumbs up.
Yay. Well, that'll bring me to my first book this week, and I'm going to start opening up with Thanos, #1. Just decided to pick this up on a lark. I really couldn't afford it, but I said, you know what? Let's grab it. We open up in the Black Quadrant where Corvus Glaive, which was like the last surviving of Thanos' generals when Thanos went to that whole big war on everybody, and he's basically leading Thanos' army now, and he's actually managed to carve out a really nice little empire for himself. And, where Thanos was like all just super evil for evil's sake, Corvus is evil, but, measured in his evil. where if you dealt with him honestly and fairly, he's not gonna hurt you just to be cruel. He's only gonna hurt you if you don't kick up. So which is not good if he wants you to kick up at like Cottonmouth says, if you got a dime, I want a nickel. But it's at least easier to deal with a man who says, hey, give me the nickel and nobody gets hurt, than it is the guy who says, okay, you gave me the nickel, now give me the rest, give me your other nickel too. Just because you're surviving too much. Anyway, basically Thanos shows up and completely tears through the whole army because he's all Thanos. I'm big and bad. And then he confronts Glaive, who's on his throne. And, Corvus says, so you have come back. So you have come back. You have forfeited this throne. So you've come back. You have forfeited this sector. It is mine now, Thanos, and I am prepared to die for it. And of course, Thanos says, yes, you are. Bum, bum, bum. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Champion goes fox hunting. Basically, get a space station where in walks the Champion, one of those big burly elder of the universe. Man, I sure hope we get the Champion at some point in one of these universes. Man, I mean, we're getting the Grand Master, but dude, if there's a role for Lou Ferrigno to play in the MCU, let's make Lou Ferrigno the Champion. Only because we can't get Randy Macho Man Savage, because Randy Macho Man Savage should definitely play the Champion. Oh yeah, I'm the Champion. But sadly, Randy is no longer with us. He beats up a robot because they're looking for Star Fox. We come across Star Fox. He's having an orgy. Because he's Star Fox. He really is going to be your friend, whether you like it or not. Basically, he's been called back to Titan by his nephew Thane. Meanwhile, back in the Black Quadrant, Thanos is fighting Corvus, and Thanos is basically smacking them around. Basically tells him, I'm going to destroy your blade. Actually, he says, Corvus says, my blade, if you destroy it, you destroy me. Thanos, please show mercy. He says, now you beg? Had you shown more spine, I may have spared you, Corvus. Crack. But you once were loyal to me, and that does mean something. So I will give you a choice, Corvus Glaive. With your blade destroyed, you will soon die as well. So you can kill yourself now and finish it, or you can let me do it. Make no mistake, this is mercy, for if I were to do it, you would suffer. And of course he's like, and then he, basically stabs himself with his own blade. And then Thanos sits down because he's all Thanos back to the throne. Although why his army of mercenaries is going to stick around from when he just beat the heck out of all of them, I don't know. I was like, yeah, that Thanos guy, he's back. He just beat us all up. I'm gonna go home. I'm done. I'm out. Star Fox, of course, doesn't want to go with the Champion. Champion says, I see through all your whole act, everything you do, it's just to disarm people, but I'm smarter than that, yada, yada, yada. Champion just wants the threat. They go meet Thane. Thane is all up in his dad's old girlfriend for some reason. And we're doing very DC Comics death here. You see this version of death, and wait a minute. Did we just step into the Sandman? Yeah, because it's all young and gothy and nubile, and that's fine, Death is what you want her to be. I personally always like to think of Death as Crackers the Clown. You ever read Fred Hembeck Destroys the Marvel Universe?
Yeah, a long time ago.
That Death was Crackers the Clown. Actually, really to me, Death is the middle-aged reporter from Iowa who the Beyonder turned into Death in Secret War 2. But basically, Death tells Thane that Star Fox and the Champion are coming. Thane tells Death that why Thane needs to tell Death anything? Goodness knows. They'll be coming soon. Trico has Eros just like we planned, and says, "Yet you still seem worried." And he says, "Shouldn't I be?" She says, "Thanos is Thanos is securing his power base once more." Says, "And even with Trico, Eros, and everything else we have planned, you don't think you can defeat your father?" He says, "I am not as powerful as I once was, and my father he is Thanos." Says, "He is practically a god." Says, "You worry too much, Thane. I told you when I found you all those months ago I would take care of everything. Don't you trust me?" He says, "No." "Well, I can't really blame you for that. I guess the best way to earn your trust is to tell you a secret. You see, I know something that no one else in the universe knows. I know something that will change everything. It is simple. Thanos is practically a god, but the unthinkable is happening. Thanos is dying." And then we see purple blood all pouring down Thanos' face. Because he's an old man and he's got cancer, just like Captain Marvel or something. So he's dying. Next issue, Thanos and a butterfly. Because maybe he's gonna make peace. I don't know. I don't know what Thanos is planning, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna make peace. Thumbs up. Real good book. I don't know if I'm gonna get Thanos 2. I'll be honest with you. I really liked Thanos 1, but a lot of books out there. And but it was a good book. Highly recommend it. If someone wants to get Thanos 2 and give us a review, please do. Looking at you, Kenneth Smyson. Looking at you, all you other guys who listen to our show. Come and, even if you just want to, if you're nervous, write us a review of Thanos 2, and I will read it on the air with dramatic voice and action. Okay, next books, Phil.
All right, I will get to mine next. They don't fit in any category block. I'll start with Jessica Jones #2. You said you were able to peruse this, yeah.
I read that. I read that one. I read Deadpool, and I read Spider-Man.
Which Spider-Man?
Oh, there were 2 Spider-Man. I read the one with Kane.
Oh, okay.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. So Jessica Jones opens up the flashback to Jessica and Luke when their baby is about to be born. And basically saying, whatever happens, we'll deal with, whatever good or bad happens, we'll deal with it. And then flash to the present. They're not handling it all too well, Char.
No, they are apparently in a bad way.
Jessica won't say where their daughter's at, so Luke rips the door off her car.
Yeah.
Scares away the guy she was tailing, so he's basically telling her, "You've ruined us, you can't come back from this, you ruined everything," and she basically just leaps away. And she still says she can't, she doesn't know how to land.
Yeah.
So basically she's saying she took the job because she wanted, to appear normal and she needed the money. She figures that they're all probably watching her office, so she goes back to her car, but Luke has her camera. Mm-hmm. She goes to a hotel. She wants to pay in cash.
You notice the person taking the pictures of Luke Cage as he smashed her door.
Uh-huh.
You think that's going to come back to haunt them?
Oh, definitely.
Carry on.
All right. So she checks into a hotel and she figures her office is being watched.
Yeah, because she's afraid of either S.H.I.E.L.D. or the military, or worst of all, an intervention.
Mm-hmm. So she gets some sleep, and then she's woken up by a knock on her door. And who is it, Charlie?
It's apparently Mrs. Jones, her mom, or I guess her adopted mom.
Yep, and she has her daughter Danielle with her, so she's alive.
Which makes perfect sense, we had floated some random theories last episode about this, and one of the things I said was obviously she, maybe gave her daughter to someone to watch. But what is amazing to me about this is that, that's not something anyone thought.
Well, I think she even says, I think her and her mom have been estranged for a while, so I guess no one thinks that Jessica would go to her.
Yeah, but that's still something you might check into.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, okay, let's think of all the places she could have sent the daughter to. Squirrel Girl, who was her nanny. Mm-hmm. Agatha Harkness, who's dead, but, whatever. On that list somewhere's got to be, she actually does have family, Mm-hmm. Maybe she, took it to someone like that, it just seems weird to me that like that wouldn't be the first place you'd check if the daughter was missing and your wife was in jail, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know where the baby is. It's like, well, you know, and if she says I won't tell you, it's like, well, maybe if the kid is safe, maybe it's with a family member. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna do?
But so her mom's telling her, you know, you need to fix this, or you could just like leave New York and start over somewhere else. And Jessica tells her, "I'll fix it. I'll fix it." So
You could just go to Jersey. You got Captain Marvel here. We don't need any extra superheroes.
so so later she's taking a shower and then her phone rings and it's the police. Her client, Sophie Brownlee, is been murdered.
Yeah, notice that.
And they're like, when's the last time you saw the husband? And Jessica says she'll be right down. They're like, great, but she gets ambushed by the Spot.
Oh yeah, the Spot. Nice to see the Spot. You know. Now here's an interesting thing about the Spot. The last time we saw the Spot, he was getting torn up by the incursions, wasn't he?
Maybe, but
I remember there was something with the Spot in the incursions, and he was having a real hard time dealing with it because, like, he was like, because he's dimensional, the dimension door collapsing. You know, he was one of these guys who was like, you know, one of these guys that no one listened to, who was uniquely keyed into what was going on as the problem. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I read somewhere we're going to be getting some stuff about the incursions and secret wars in this book because I mean, well, after everything Mrs. Brownlee said last issue, and now maybe the Spot has some info on it, but it was good. Thumbs up.
And of course, we don't know exactly what it was that made Jessica decide to either go to jail or put her child in protective custody.
Yep, not yet. All right, then I will go to Deadpool 22.
Yeah, I like this too.
So it opens up with Deadpool in the morgue. They think he's dead until he wakes up, even though his chest is like open.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, he is cursed to not die, so it's like, you know, I think that was the thing that poor old Madcap didn't take into account there, was that he can die, but death is not. It was there, it was cursed by Thanos, right? That death can never have him because Thanos is jealous. He's all jelly of death. So yeah, so he comes back to life. So they're cutting him up because they say, these clowns dressed in these outfits, you know.
Yep, and he's like, can you put everything back where it goes and close up the hood?
Yeah, well, you know.
But I found this interesting. The doctor says we didn't have, we thought maybe you were a fake because your prints aren't in the database, and he says his prints are always changing.
Well, yeah, because remember, his whole thing is his cancer is superpower, which means that it's not that his body is growing back, it's that his cells are just also cancerous. They just keep on replicating.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, his prints aren't in the system because his cells basically have constant mutations in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, interestingly enough, you could actually even work in that at some point where you could actually give him laser eyes and claws at some point because as parts of these random mutations of the cancer, he could just start suddenly manifesting random superpowers. Ooh, that would be fun for a nice Deadpool arc, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mark my word.
Oh, yeah. But he tells the doctor to throw out his clothes. Remember that for the end of the issue. But and there's been a bunch of dead people showing up with their dressed up as Deadpool, so Madcap's been busy.
Yeah.
But Deadpool's thinking over the whole Madcap thing, thinking he might even need the Avengers, but he goes to the theater. Nobody's there, but the workmen are telling him they need paid.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I liked about when he's talking about Madcap was this idea that Madcap didn't used to be this violent.
Mm-hmm.
But that basically became this violent when he was stuck in his head. And I guess, being stuck in my head can drive even a crazy person crazy.
Yeah, it's probably the same thing with the Venom symbiote.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Dude, you are bad for people.
So The best scene of the issue. So he needs money, so he goes to the racetrack. So I guess it's mafia controlled because as he's stealing money and knocking the guys out, he calls them mafia dirtbags.
Yeah, at least that's what he's saying. Although what I really like is how he describes it, because he puts on his little red suit. And what's his little red suit?
Oh, he's dressed as Spider-Man with a Santa hat.
Yes, and he says he is
the inferior Spider-Man.
I love that.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man song with revamped lyrics.
Oh yeah, I love that. It's like do something Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you enjoyed the part when he dives out the window after he got the money. He goes, "Look out, I'm Doc Ock again."
It was a good book.
Mm-hmm. So, after some hijinks with the mafia guys, some horses, some horse racing, he gets out of there with the money. Gets back to the theater, tells the workman, he has the money, and the guy's like, "Thanks." He's like, "My bosses will be even happier you're paid in cash." But then Johnny Storm shows up. He tells him, he's like, "Here, do me a favor, deposit this into our vigilante group's main account." And because Deadpool says he probably shouldn't be seen with the money right now. And Johnny says, "I was once on the world's greatest team of heroes. Now I'm starring in a deleted Goodfellas scene."
Yeah.
Well, wow, we get Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm this week.
Yeah, well, it is. And you wait till we get to that book, because I got theories, man.
Oh yeah. So Deadpool gets in a cab because he got a tweet or text, "Dinner's ready soon." So he thinks, okay. So he goes out to see Preston and Ellie, and Agent Preston says, "Who invited you?" And he says, "You did." And she's like, "No, I didn't." And he says, and they figure out Ellie must have grabbed her phone and invited him. So she's like, "Fine, you can stay." So he goes in. He's talking to Ellie and Preston's family. They're having dinner. Until Agent Adsit calls him. He goes outside, and Adsit says, "Where are you?" And he tells him, and he says, "Have you been to the coroner's office this week?" He says, "Where are you?" And he says, "Outside Preston's house." He says, "Good, don't go inside." "Why?" And he said, "The coroners are dead. Some sort of hemorrhagic fever. We found your uniform in the infectious waste bin. Whatever they came across, it's weaponized and deadly."
Oh boy.
So Deadpool's like all in shock. He's like, "Madcap said he would destroy me." And he's like, "No." And he looks, because looking in the window, he sees everyone in the house. Looks like they're dying, well, except for Preston, because she's in a LMD body, but everyone else is in a bad way. Yeah, it looks like Ellie's.
No.
So
we know she makes it to 2099, so we know she gets out of this okay.
Yes, but is that the main timeline or an alternate timeline, Charlie?
All the same timeline now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, everything's locked in the same cage. I forgot.
All stuff.
But good issue. I mean, thumbs up. I would give it a thumbs up just for that Spider-Man scene, but very good issue. Thumbs up.
Yes, very good. Okay, so going from let's go from Deadpool to Squirrel Girl. Why not? She's fun. Actually have her in print form right now. So, when last we left our intrepid hero, we had, and this is a weird thing because this will come up in the Captain America thing, although it's somewhat related. We open up, we see Squirrel Girl and Brain Drain and Tippy Toe and Ant-Man fighting against an army of Enigmas, and then we flash back to when we see the gang making the plans, and then of course you will remember that an Enigma was watching them make these plans. And then we get Enigma's origin, where basically he was a member of the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation, but when people stopped coming to and I had to look up to see if Enigma was a member of the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation back in the Thing days. I don't know. It's possible. But we basically find out that after, the Unlimited Class Wrestling folded, although we will see that they didn't quite fold, although, there's a whole thing with that. When we get there as well, we see that basically Enigma kind of went out on his life, but found himself, constantly being hurt by life. And at one time, he was separated from his other Enigmos, and then he did not rejoin the Enigmos when they got into battle, and that's why he says all the other Enigmos have a little scar on their nose, but this Enigmo Prime, if you will, does not. And he just went to Canada to hang out. And when he went to Canada, he found that people were kind and good and decent. And so he grew up with a different sense of humanity that the other Enigmos who had been hurt by humanity in non-socialist America. Seems to be what they're implying. That's all I'm saying here, is when he's in America, people being real awful to him. Goes to Canada, people kind of nice. People like, oh, hey, dear fella, you seem like you're having a hard day. Let's help you out. And so he doesn't turn to supervillainy. And all the other Enigmos throughout the rest of the world, all villains, because everyone but Canada is evil. Okay, moving right along. Basically, because the Enigmos can share thoughts, they realize that if Enigmo can rejoin with the collective, he can convince them to be good because he can convince them of the decency of humanity. And Squirrel Girl's upset because that's not a good heist, because it's just one guy going into it. And then basically Ant-Man convinces Enigmo that, or convinces Squirrel Girl that she can teach Enigmo the skills of rhetoric, and they can, how to talk people down, because that's, of course, what Squirrel Girl's main power is in this book. And then they go into it, and then they, basically their idea was that they would have Enigmo, one of the little tiny Enigmos, rejoin with another Enigmo with the knowledge that Squirrel Girl knows how to defeat them and to come to Toronto. But they find out that, of course, the one Enigmo that they tried to remerge can't remerge. And when the other Enigmos find out, they think that what they think is that what she's learned to defeat them is tiny Enigmo rejoin up with the larger Enigmo collective. But then they find out that the tiny Enigmo can't, that the good Enigmo has been separated from the Enigmo collective for too long and can no longer emerge at the moment. So they have, so they realize, so that's why they have to fight, because essentially what happens is all the Enigmos come to Canada because they think that the reason why this one Enigmo can't re-merge with them is because Squirrel Girl has found a way to keep them from re-merging. When they get to Canada, they start a fight. Everyone's fighting, and then all of a sudden, Nancy realizes, Dorian's mom is talking to Scott about why he can grow big, and because of course they go over what they call the square cubed conundrum, or essentially this idea is that when you increase something's size, its mass becomes squared, its surface area becomes squared, but its mass becomes cubed. So as a result, you can grow something big, but if it's still designed in the way of the smaller thing, you're going to have all sorts of structural weaknesses because you now have a squared surface trying to handle a cubed mass. Anyway, so they come across this idea. They're going to basically, they don't tell you what the plan is yet, but obviously if you have half a brain cell, you figure what they're going to do. Is they realize that the reason why Ant-Man and other things can become giant is because in certain extreme situations with where particles like PIM particles or cosmic radiation, things can grow big and somehow overcome the squared cube problem. But of course, Enigma doesn't have this problem. Although, to be honest, they're kind of only assuming that. And it does work out that that's the case. And again, we have the situation with people without unstable molecules being very unstable in their molecular structure, but we'll go on with that later. And when they essentially use PIM particles to create a super gigantic Iron Man mecha out of basically an Iron Man toy, the Enigmos all become merged together to become giant. But then, of course, their ankle snaps and they fall down. And when they fall down, Enigma runs to join into them because when it falls, he crushes into them and they all merge for a second before they unmerge. And then, of course, at the speed of thought, with all of their broken ankles, they have all decided to become good because Enigma was able to explain to them the basic goodness of humanity. And then we see what happened to everyone else at the end of the book, which is that Squirrel Girl, Nancy, Tippy, and Maureen finished their vacation in Nova Scotia. Ant-Man got a check from the Canadian government for not destroying Toronto too badly when he was fighting Enigma, which basically, and of course, it's got a bunch more publicity, so his business is doing well. And Brain Drain got a new uniform to fight crime in. That was designed for him by Maureen. And then 14% of the Enigmos went and took a physics class because science eventually recovered from being abused by both PIM particles and cosmic rays and continues to be the best way to explore the workings of our universe. Thumbs up. It's a fun book. Oh, look at that. Someone got a note prize. Got to read what that letter was. Yeah, Squirrel Girl, she's always fun. She's a good book. And I'm glad to read her. Okay.
All right. I'll get to my last two books on my own, or as I call it, the Spider-Man block. I'll start with Spider-Man number 9, the one you didn't read. It's the Miles Morales one.
Oh yeah, okay.
So basically, it starts in Brooklyn. Miles' father comes home and finds Miss Marvel and Nova going through his trying to open his computer, and because he's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Is Miles with you?" And they're like, "No, we snuck in because Miles is missing."
Bum, bum, bum.
And then they show, I guess, Gold Balls and Bombshell are out looking for. They have them looking for Miles too. But Gank goes to. Interesting enough, he goes to. Danica Hart, the girl who's been putting up videos of Miles on the internet and stuff, because she's always telling her followers to put up videos and tell me where he's at, where you've spotted him and stuff. So Gang comes over and he's telling her, he's missing, but he says, you get all these scoops on Spider-Man's comings and going. I just wanted to know if you heard anything. And then she asks him why he's missing, and at the same time, Nova and Miss Marvel are explaining to Miles' father why he's missing because of about Ulysses' vision, and they don't show them actually. They must tell him about the Captain America thing, but they don't show it because they're just like, yeah, they had this vision and we all felt it. And then Danica gets on her, I guess her YouTube channel or whatever, and she's telling them everyone Spider-Man's missing. Before I told you to tell me about his comings and goings, it was for fun, but this is the real deal. Spider-Man is missing. We're not sure if he ran away or was grabbed by something or someone, but with all the crazy tension going on in the superhero community of late, nothing is impossible. So she's like, if you see him, message me. But just the real sightings, no jokes or Baba Booies. We need to get this done and fast. But meanwhile,
Baba Booies. How old are these kids? Is Baba Booey even a thing? I mean, I know that guy's on
Howard Stern.
Yeah. Well, it's the guys writing these are in their 40s, so they don't know that kids today have no idea what a Baba Booey probably is. Because I'm sure millennials are like, "What are you talking about?"
I happen to know Brian Michael Bendis is a Howard Stern fan, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that, but I also know Brian Michael Bendis is probably my age, or probably maybe even a little bit older. So he probably, is like, that's the thing, right? The kids today and their Baba Booies, Oh, Howard Stern, you ruined the world.
What?
Yeah, he had Donald Trump on his show. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but he was a big Hillary supporter in the election, so.
Yeah, that's true. He was like, it's like, I had you on the show so you don't know, and people listened, but they didn't listen. Oh well, moving right along.
Anyway, so Miles' dad goes to a barber shop. I wonder if you know where this is going. The guy says,
The
guy says, need a cut, and then he says, do you do the Kevin Costner? So he sits in the chair, goes down to SHIELD headquarters. tells the agent who meets him, says, "I'd like to talk to her now." And so they dial up. It looks like a holographic image of Maria Hill. She says, "Jefferson Good, where is he?" He says, "I was about to ask you the same thing, Director Hill. Where is my son?" And she's like, "He's not in trouble. We want to protect him." And his father says, "When were you going to tell me my son was in danger? Our entire deal is I work for you and you protect him." And Hill's like, "I'm trying to, but he ran away." She's like, "And I'm sorry I didn't buzz you about the latest doings, but I've had my hands full with a damn superhero civil war that your son involved himself in." And she must be feeling slighted because she says, he didn't come to me. He went to Tony Stark." She says, "So why don't you go call Tony Stark and give him a big bowl of this sass?" And his father's like, "I heard about the Vision, and you can't arrest him for something he didn't do." And Maria Hill says, "I can't actually arrest him just because I think his costume is a threat to national security, but I'm not trying to. I'm trying to put him into protective custody and keep him safe." And his father says, "Would the place you're trying to keep him safe resemble a prison cell?" So she's like, "Either you trust me or you don't. I'm trying to protect him." She's like, "Bring him in." And his father says, "I don't know where he is." And Maria Hill's like, "I'm sorry to hear that." And his father's like, "He didn't do anything wrong." And she's like, "I'll let you know if I hear anything." And she cuts the connection. Then meanwhile, Danica takes...
Do we know where Miles is?
Oh, they show you in the end. That it shouldn't be hard to guess, Charlie. But yeah, so Danica takes Gank up to a rooftop she sits on and watches the superheroes fly by and swing by. And so I guess what they see the Human Torch fly by. Where's the part that she says? She's like, "You're Spider-Man's best pal, his right-hand man, his Watson." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And she's like, "Come on." And he's like, "Oh, we've been friends since we were babies," because he's wearing like a ball cap and sunglasses. I guess try to hide his face and stuff.
Yeah, well, it is a two-dimensional universe. Anything that obstructs a view will completely obscure your identity. We all know that.
Mm-hmm. But she's telling him she's
a two-dimensional universe.
But he's saying that they've known each other since they're babies. That's all. And she says, "And now he is who he is, and part of that is because of you." And he says, "You don't even know me." And she goes, "I know stuff." She goes, "You don't know my name." And she goes, "Tell me your name." And he says, "Can't." She said she wouldn't tell, but he says he can't. But then Danica, I guess her followers start messaging her. Miss Marvel gets a message. You want to guess where Miles is at?
Parker Industries?
No, Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, we did know that he was going to Washington, D.C. That's right. Now I remember.
Yeah.
We knew that at like the end of the last issue or something like that.
And so then Danica and Gank see... I don't know if that's supposed to be Riri Williams or Tony Stark in like a bigger Iron Man armor. I mean...
Well, I don't think Riri's painted her armor red and gold yet.
It's not red and gold. It's like a blue. It's like gray and bluish.
Okay, yeah. Then that's probably Riri.
That's what I thought, but it kind of looks like... It almost looks like a bigger version of the War Machine armor. So I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Well, whoever it is flying, and there like, "Are we nuts, or are they headed for Washington, D.C.?"
We got to remember that like Riri is definitely in the whole Champions vibe right now.
Yeah, but the issue basically, well, the very last panel is just Gank saying like, "Oh no, they're going to kill him." But it was a good issue. I mean, especially considering there was like no Miles Morales in it. But I was entertained. It's a thumbs up.
Yeah, well, we got to get it, moving up to the point where we kill Captain America. So, do you think they kill off both Cap and Tony at the end of all this?
Do you think you really think they're going to kill Steve off?
Well, they might kill him off as much as they killed Tony off. I mean, for what it's worth, like we say, I mean, Steve is saying he doesn't die then, but
Yeah, and I mean,
is that hubris?
I mean, Steve knows it's coming. I mean, could he switch himself out with an LMD at some point or something?
Yeah, well, he made this point in this that he observed things that other people didn't during that moment. Because of course he is He is actually, as we've said, he is the smartest guy in the room, even though he doesn't let it on. They've never upplayed that, but he does have peak human intelligence among everything else. His brain is working at a much faster level than most human beings are even capable of. So when he sees a room, he sees every detail in the room, and it's preserved photographically in his mind. Ergo, when he looks out at that universe, he's seeing things that maybe no one else saw, and whether that's, something subtle, like, brown eyes versus blue or something like that, the idea is that he saw something that told him what everyone else saw isn't what they think they saw. Now, exactly what they saw, whether it was that it's not this week that he dies, or that it wasn't really him, or that it was something else entirely involved. And what he actually said was that, I am going to die there, but not this week. But when I do die, it's going to be for the greater glory of Hydra. So we don't know exactly what he said yet, but it wouldn't surprise. And then, of course, visions can be wrong. As Yoda said, perhaps the prophecy was wrong. Which was what's his name's official statement on the issue. When people said, well, but the prophecy was this, so maybe Luke through, something I put forward, which is that maybe that Vader through Luke brings balance to the Force, with neither the monk-like oppressiveness of the Jedi nor the avarice of the Sith. Luke does bring balance to the Force, but what's his name? George Lucas kind of said no, it was just wrong. The prophecy was just wrong. Although I like my idea better, and so does actually pretty much everybody else in the Star Wars who is a fan of Star Wars. Likes the idea that Luke actually did bring balance to it by evolving both the Jedi and the Sith beyond their black and white dichotomy of the Force, their light and dark dichotomy of the Force, and seeing the Force as more shades of gray, and that we can do good without having to sacrifice our humanity. That's always the hope. Okay, moving right along.
All right, my last book on my own, Amazing Spider-Man 21. Well, you said you read this, right?
I did give this one a good read. More
flashbacks, this time of Kane and after the battle with the Inheritors, how he was.
This basically takes place entirely before the last issue that we just read of the Clone Conspiracy. Yeah, so this is all, read that first. Although, really, this is the order to read this would be this, then that. But, this is going to spoil everything that's in that. So you're not going to get the big reveals. But this is where you get the reveals. This is where they show how those reveals happened.
So they basically show how Kane is, I guess, resurrected. The other is not part of him anymore, so his clone body is degenerating again.
You know what's interesting about that? That means the other is somewhere else.
That's right.
Who has the other taken over? Perhaps a superior Dr. Octopus? I don't know. No, okay. That would be cool.
But, so he Kane's talking to the Master Weaver, and he's telling him, you can't go home again, and you're dying, and then all these alternate universes are falling to carrion clones and Miles Warren, and this disease is just ravaging worlds. So Kane starts going to alternate realities, trying to figure out what the common thread is. And if you look in the background, you can figure it out. Yeah, so anyway, Kane's trying to track down this, the disease.
And what is the common thread? Because he says, I have to find what is the comic thread behind all these outbreaks. What do we see in the background of each of those panels?
Parker Industries.
Oh, yeah, that place.
So Kane comes back, he has some samples, but then he has a run-in with Spider-Gwen. Yeah, because he's telling her she needs to stay away because she can get infected, and she's like, "Look, we figured out this thing passes from direct contact, and we both wear full body costumes."
Yeah, but it's not like their costumes are made out of non-porous fibers. They're basically spandex costumes. I mean,
Well, I'm guessing Gwen's saying I'm not. we're wearing full body costumes and I won't touch you. So
they're not going to go kiss, I guess.
yeah. And that's when Kane tells her that the common threat is Parker Industries. So they go to yet another alternate reality, and that's when Kane explains to Gwen about how Miles Warren on many Earths was her college professor who had a unhealthy crush on her.
Yeah, which is kind of creepy.
Just a little. But then they see this Earth's Miles Warren and Peter Parker get overwhelmed by infected people they were trying to cure. And Kane's like, we can't save them, but we can save their work. So they grab their paperwork and take off. But then he runs into a version of himself that looks like wearing the same costume and has the same degeneration he had during the 90s Clone Saga. So they battle him, but then they take him with him so they can study him.
Well, I like one of the things they're showing there is that all the scars because he starts to get his face all messed up again.
Mm-hmm. But Kane realizes he's not contagious. But then I guess then they a few weeks later they come up with the plan that they have to save the 616, and they see it's just starting with New You and the Jackal's plan, so they they travel there and they switch out Gwen for Spider-Gwen. This is when they switch out Gwen for Spider-Gwen. But the thing Kane's not telling Gwen is he's dying.
Yeah.
What?
This will be like the 4th time he's died.
Yeah.
Especially once Otto gets involved and he creates the special thing that fixes, what's his name's failures.
Oh yeah, because
self to be truly superior.
All he needs is a clone body, a good clone body, because Otto has that mind rewriting technology.
Yeah. No, because Otto is working with Warren now because Otto says I can fix your problem. I know he basically says I know the problem is that your clones are real shoddy.
Mm-hmm.
And what's weird about that is apparently only Warren's clones are real shoddy. It's like everyone else can make clones just fine. You don't hear about X-23 having problems with her clone degeneration. It's just
Exactly.
Warren, just, it's oh, this is the one thing I do. I do clones. I'm not good at it, but it's what I do. It's really, hasn't this technology kind of been meted out at this point? Because Dr. Doom's cloning people, freaking Arnim Zola's cloning people left and right. There's lots of clones out there. That's all I'm saying. I don't know why Miles Warren is having such a hard time. I guess because people don't publish their scientific research if you're a supervillain. So it's well, no, I mean that's the thing. It's in the normal scientific community, if you had this really advanced cloning technology, you would publish it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fascinating? Okay, and then we'll do a little peer review. We'd work it out, and everyone would say, okay, that's how we get clones. But since it's only supervillains doing it, none of them are publishing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no one can really. Oh, that's how Dr. Doom fixed that problem. If we just make all the clones female, then that fixes this whole degeneration problem. That's why freaking X-23 works. I mean,
mm-hmm.
Clones. What are you gonna do?
So yeah, big thumbs up on that one. That was my last book on my own.
Okay. That was your last book? Okay. Mm-hmm. How do I have 2 more books on my own?
Well.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll do 2. We must have discussed.
On your own?
Yeah, I have Squadron and I have Hellcat.
Oh yeah. I think you told me you had 3 on your own. You must have 4 on your own.
I must have 4. It's hard to count, because some books I do digital, some books I do paper. So let's open up with. So I'll do 2. Okay. Well, so we'll open up with Squadron. We open up with the big helicarrier, and it says, "So what's next for us?" And we see Blur in a cage with no toilets, because Because they're prisoners. Prisoners don't need toilets, especially not superhuman prisoners.
What are they, in the Flash?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess theoretically it's a holding cell because they also have them in handcuffs. So it's like, you're just here. You're in this force shield. You got handcuffs. We got like armed guards around you. This is just in case we can get you to the next place. We're going to lock you up. Anyway, it talks to Jim Hammond. And, basically Blur is like really, it's like, look, I'm really excited about this universe, It's like, I know this is like bad for me, but I'm going to tell you, from my universe, this is not what my universe was like, because he's from the new universe, which was supposed to be really, really tame. And it's like, your universe is like crazy, and it's exciting, I was, Blur in his universe was like, oh wow, I'm like this strange new creature. Here I'm, Wednesday. I'm just a speedster. I'm one of 14 different speedsters in this universe, Although he does make a good point, which I really liked, which is he kind of calls out Jim Hammond about how he had fought Namor lots and lots of times. And, you get, for what it's worth, Blur really, I don't know if Blur's doing this intentionally, but he definitely really gets into Hammond's mind. You can see it here, like some kind of master interrogator, where he basically like, yeah, Namor, everyone fights Namor. Namor causes lots of problems, and, basically, it's hard, man. Like, was it the right thing to kill Namor? And then we see back in time. This is a flashback. We see Namor fighting the Squadron. We see Dr. Prism and Hyperion, who are in this astral form, watching everyone fight. And you basically get this nice back and forth between them. You find out that, because, of course, we found out that Doctor's powers are spell. And basically, the idea is that they can pull Namor out from the moment of death and bring him back to life, as it were. He still dies, but still he will live because he is not there at the very moment of his death. You get this very nice discussion between them, especially with Hyperion, like, almost this idea, like, did I really, did we kind of let Nighthawk corrupt us, and his very violent view of the world? Were we, driven to something that maybe isn't who we should be? Although Hyperion is very much, I guess perhaps kind of the big dumb guy. And for what it's worth, just to call back to our Super Sons thing, this idea of, Jonathan Kent or Jonathan Smith as the big dumb guy, as Superboy, the guy that, Damian feels he is smarter than. And how maybe that does not work out well. And we see, Hyperion feeling bad about destroying Atlantis and all these things. And basically tells, he realizes that Dr. Spectrum can work the spell, can save him. And she says, in the name of Ra, when did you get so damn perceptive? I preferred you big, dumb, and handsome. Says, yeah, so does Nighthawk, I bet. Doesn't change how I feel, Net. Oh, Net. Come on, let's do the other thing. So the right thing. And so they save Namor at the point of death. And then Namor is likewise a ghost as he dies, but he is standing there and, basically he decides as a ghost in the end to... Sorry, there's a whole thing where it's like they do this nice back. It's really powerful. Basically you get this nice scene where Namor decides to attack Hyperion in their spirit forms, but of course they're just spirit forms, so they fly through each other. And of course, Dr. Prism or Dr. Spectrum says, yeah, I'm the only one among us who really has powers right now, so you're going to do what I tell you or you're going to do it. And basically Hyperion says, look, I'll fix Atlantis. I destroyed it. I can rebuild it. I want to make right. And he says, we're from the future, not too far beyond today, but we need to get back there if we want to be whole again. Once we are, I'll let you hit me if you still want to. You get first punch. Says, oh, you can count on it. and basically points out that, in the past, Dr. Spectre, and then Namor says, "Young lady, that's you in the past. My present, down there, right?" He says, "Why? Did you just kick my severed head?" Says, "You destroyed my Earth. There's not a lot of choice in the matter, as I recall. But yes, you have a point. So are we returning to your future, or shall we linger here a while longer to watch you defile my body some more?" Okay, so they all go back to the future. Meanwhile, in the present, which is their future and is the present, we said we have two teammates captured. Warrior Woman's God Nowhere, same for Power Princess. And then there's Nighthawk, hopefully already trying to free the team. How he'll go about it, that worries me. To see Nighthawk basically does his shield agents on his hands. Oh, Nighthawk. Oh boy. It was a good book. It was a great book. I really love the Squadron. I love the moral complexity of it. Because here's the thing about superheroes: they are inherently a bad idea. No, I mean I love superheroes. Don't get me wrong, but they are inherently a bad idea. The idea that you have people who are unstoppable in some way, who are beyond the control of any populace, who are reliant on their moral virtue. That's the thing about superheroes. And I have a fan theory about the Incredibles, which is that only good people get superpowers in the Incredibles universe. Because the only people we see with superpowers all are the heroes. All the villains that we see in the Incredibles universe that we've seen so far are all tech-based, meaning scientists who created superpowers. But that if you have intrinsic superpowers, you have to be a good and decent and good person. In a universe where that is not the case, where superpowers are distributed randomly, even the heroes you have to be really suspect of, because honestly, the only thing keeping them heroes is the fact that they haven't decided today to be villains. So, and I think Squadron Supreme addresses that very nicely. Big thumbs up there for me. And then my next book is actually, I have one more on my own. Hellcat. Let's get it out of here. We got to get through these dang books. Already been on here for 2 hours. So I'm going to have to give short shrift to Hellcat. It's a good book. We get a little backstory on Ian and Zoe. Basically, I'm wondering if Zoe's got some kind of Purple Man powers, because she is just a complete jerk to Ian. And he just takes it. And it's this weird thing where it's like Zoe thinks they're in a relationship, but Ian is totally gay, and she's like very mad that he's with other guys, and she's like, it's weird the way because they describe it like, because every way that Zoe, and it's like this real perspective, it's like everything that Zoe says makes you think that her and Ian were exes, but everything Ian says makes you think that no, Ian's always been Ian. He's always been her gay roommate, but that, it's weird. Now, here's where it gets interesting, is we see basically, in the last episode, Black Cat put one of her henchwomen into Attaché's bag, but of course, she can't pull anything out of the bag. She can feel stuff, but she can't pull it out. She says, "I can feel jewelry, purses, some boots, what feels like a minivan, but no Lena." But of course, Attaché can pull anything out of her own bag. So she does pull out Lena, who is like really freaked out by being transported to the dark dimension for a few minutes. Meanwhile, you get Ian talking about this relationship she had with Zoe and just the weirdness of it. Then we get that Black Cat and her black kittens are breaking into a costume museum. We see Telecate Ian show up, totally superheroed out in his uniform. He's decided that if he's going to be a superhero, he has to live up to it. We see Jubilee and Hellcat with Telecate Ian pretty much thwart all the other bad people. And then we see... and this is what's weird. We see Black Cat stealing stuff. We see that Telecate Ian has captured people. And then we see what looks like Black Cat killing Attaché. But then when we come to the final scene, it very much looks like Attaché is now in Black Kitten garb and is now on Hellcat's team. So I'm not sure if there's some kind of mind control power in Black Cat's claws here. And we see in the next issue, we've got like all 4 of the Black Kittens with Black Cat in the throne. It's an interest. There's something weird going on here. Something they're not quite being upfront with. And I, for one, welcome our new Hellcat Overlords. Or Black Cat Overlords. Thumbs up. It's a very good book. So that brings us to all of our books together. What do you want to start with, Phil?
You want to start with Doctor Strange number 14?
Sure. That was a good one.
Very good, but very weird. Like, Doctor Strange is stuck in Satana's version of hell, and it's like a diner.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's what I love. See, I love that aspect of it. And Satana makes a great point in this, which is like, look, there are, there's a booming hell industry, is basically what she says. There's lots of hells out there. I've got my hell, and it's pretty dang good. What I really love is we open up with the kitchen, and they're frying up all the crazed monster food that, we know that Doctor Strange eats. There's a cook there with 2 demon arms who are yelling at the way he's cooking, and you see Doctor Strange say, is that Master Pandemonium back there or someone else with demon arms? Now, all 4 of Master Pandemonium's limbs were supposed to be demons. So I don't think that's actually supposed to be Master Pandemonium, but, it's not quite clear as we watch the story progress. We go on, we see basically, Satana is basically saying, look, all the hells are in competition for each other. We all want to have the best souls, and basically kind of sells it as like, these hells are places that people want to go. Because what do you want to do? Go to heaven with all these pious people, or go hang out with all the best writers and drunks and rock stars, We find out later she does have Jim Morrison on thing, but they need celebrities. They need to have celebrities in their hell to have people want to come into their hells. It's a very weird cosmology they're creating here. And basically she wants to have Doctor Strange be basically her greeter, so that everyone knows he's got the Strange, and she's already, like, I guess, put up billboards along the River Styx to welcome people to Hell's Kitchen, where Doctor Strange is the doctor in charge. They basically, they force feed him some mystical bacon, which, apparently does slowly kill him. He thought he could take it, but apparently not quite so much. And he does manage I'm sorry, yes.
No, I was going to say he just astral projects, I guess, inside his body and fights off the infection.
I was getting to that point. I'm flipping through here via computer right now. So he comes to, he's in chains. This is where we get the whole thing about how he's going to be her big draw. We see he calls him Master P, but again, I don't think that's actually Master Pandemonium. I think this is and also,
I don't know. One of his demon arms towards the end calls him Pandemonium.
He does? Did I miss that?
Yeah, well, after he knocks him out, he said that one of the demon arms says, "Wake up, Pandemonium."
Oh, okay. So maybe it's supposed to be Master Pandemonium. Like I said, I thought his legs were also supposed to be. Although I guess maybe.
And in the end here, Satana calls him Pandemonium too.
Okay, yeah. Well, you know why? Okay, that makes a little sense, because he got his legs back when he got the 2 pieces of his soul back from the Scarlet Witch's kids.
Oh yeah.
Okay. See, it's not as weird as we thought.
I forgot he had. Yeah, I forgot it. He had some of it back. Yeah.
Yeah, because he originally had 4 demons. Now he's down to 2 demons. So these are really jerky demons. Like the worst of his demons are the ones that got left. But that's indicative of Mephisto. So yeah, so Doctor Strange has to astral project. He gets himself into a little self, and then he compresses himself, goes inside his self to defeat his own indigestion, as it were. He does make the point. It's like, I don't remember the Ancient One ever talking to me about fighting a mystical piece of bacon in my own stomach. He gets to the point where he causes himself to throw up, so he throws up the monster bacon on everyone, and he gets free, which leads to Satana being very upset as the bacon. This is a great, nice scene where the bacon runs out and someone says, "Hey, what gives? I thought they were out of bacon. Somebody grab that thing." Yay, demon bacon. Yeah, and there she calls him Pandemonium. Where's my favorite attraction? And the demons say it was his fault. No, it was his. He let him. And says, "Dear Satana, your health sucks almost as much as your food. Love, Doc S." Says, "Oh, well, I really wanted Tony Stark anyway. Change his plans. Somebody wake up Jim Morrison. Tell him he's got a show to play." Then we see that the doorway to hell is, of course, where?
Near Newark Airport.
My hometown, man. Yeah. Yeah, New Yorkers always down on us New Yorkers. That's because we're so dang authentic and they're all posers. That's why. Dr. Grant grabs a taxi. And of course, who's driving the taxi, Phil?
The Orb.
Yes, he says, "I just want to watch." Oh, I don't even know what day it is anymore. The Orb, to be continued. Very coincidental. Those who don't recall, the last time we saw the Orb, it was when they stole the Watcher's eyes, and he kind of did not fare well from that. We'll see what happens next. Thumbs up for me. It was a good book.
Oh, yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I really like this book,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, was this my pick of the week? It was pretty close. I know that. Yeah, I kind of want to say Cap was my pick of the week because I kind of liked, this and Cap and Black Panther and Invincible Iron Man were Infamous Iron Man. We're all good. But anyway, why don't you do your next book, Phil?
Should we do Black Panther number 8?
Sure. What do you think of Black Panther, Phil?
This one was really good. In fact, I think this might be like my favorite one of the series so far.
Okay.
Yeah, because we see in the beginning T'Challa's with the crew and talking to them. We get a nice scene with him, with Eden and Luke and Misty, but we get a real touching scene with him and Storm.
Oh yeah. And we see Luke basically trying to get Daniela into some kind of Wakandan daycare or something. Oh, Luke is so dang domesticated. Let's be honest. Yeah, but yeah, no, the scene between Storm and T'Challa. I mean, I hope those two crazy kids somehow find a way to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then they all leave except for yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave except for Eden because T'Challa needs his help to find his sister, but like get her spirit back.
Yeah. Well, essentially, because he realizes that she isn't there, which is kind of interesting. You know what this reminds me of? There was an issue of the Fantastic Four where basically, Doctor basically, I forget exactly who killed him, but someone kills the Thing, Reed is able to save him, but knows that he's in this space between life and death. And so basically, based on the machine that Doom created in college to contact his dead mother, Reed rebuilds the machine to go to heaven and fixes the flaw that Doom didn't see. Because he's Reed Richards and he saw the plans, for a whole 5 minutes, 20 years ago. Yeah, there was some continuity problems with that, but it was still fun. And much in the same way, T'Challa realizes that he can't heal Shuri because she's not in her body, but she is between worlds. And we see that Shuri sees that, they're coming for her, even as they are getting ready to do the transit. And of course, Eden, and they've got these weird robot exosuits. I don't know why they're in humanoid form, because it's like they're not using them as like battle armor. They're just using them to up their power to transport into the in between realm between life and death. We have a flashback to Suri's death, and then we get basically Shuri telling her last story to her essentially Gaia, essentially our mother goddess character here. And they tell the story of Sulagan, who was born to the Bako chieftain at the onset of the rise. It says the Queen Mother Sulagan was born to the Bako chieftain at the onset of their rise, 2,000 seasons before the Mansa's great Hajj. Sulagan was not esteemed by the court. She was not a lady. She was blunt when she should have been witty. She did not take well to ritual. But she was royalty, and in her 16th year, she was given in marriage to Maghan Kanate, the most powerful chieftain of the age, to solidify his own power. Sulagan's trials continued. Kanate's other wives mocked her, and for her lack of grace, named her the Buffalo Woman. In her 3rd year of marriage, Sulagan bore a son. Kanate died soon after, and his wives plotted to have Sulagan and her son banished back to the Bako. These were the injuries among so many that Sulagan, the so-called Buffalo Woman, was made to carry. But every dart endured, every torture tolerated. And I can't just say, this Kanahasi Totes, he's a pretty decent writer. Temperature Sulagan grew strong.
Oh, yeah.
Hard. She reared her son, Mare Dijata, with a hard and loving hand. Spirit of iron, she would tell him, makes skin of stone. Years passed. Sulagan became a trusted advisor to her father. She had changed. Her bluntness was now honesty. Her dislike of ceremony was dislike of pretense. And all that was a curse in a maiden became a boon in a widow. And then in the last year of the Magan chief's Wakanda was assaulted. Messengers spoke of a great army overrunning the east. Already the 4th dynasty had surrendered. The Bako were now called to do the same. Wise men deliberated through the night, and in the morning, haggard and bleary, they told their men to lay down their arms. But when the council came to announce its decision, Sulagan shouted them down, shamed them. She did as warriors, as fathers, as men. She vowed to fight the invaders herself. The men, astonished, followed her onto the field. And when the dark threat loomed, and the army from the east was upon them, they all trembled behind Sulagan, but they did not break. Indeed, they became unbreakable, and you see them sort of harden into stone. That was the day the 5th dynasty arose, and the Bako went from chieftains to king, for they knew what fallen rulers always forget. Spirit of iron makes skin of stone, and we see that Shuri likewise turned to stone. And basically we see, Eden and T'Challa wandering through the great expanse, trying to find Shuri, but of course Shuri basically grabs them, finds them, and they all return to the real world. We see the Mother Goddess tell her that, she is the bearer of what was, and what is, and what shall be, and shall be. And we see our heroes awaken. And we see where Shuri says, "Here, T'Challa, and I'm sorry, brother, I have discovered nothing. But I remember everything." Boom, boom, boom. And she's all dressed up, all ceremonial. To be continued. Yeah, great book, great book. Yeah, this is another one of my 5 stars. This Marvel does hit really well right now. What do you think, Phil?
Oh yeah. It's really good. Like I said, this might be one of my favorite ones so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I think this Ta-Nehisi Coates kid, I think he knows what he's doing when it comes to writing a book. I think guy might one day be seen as a pretty good writer. I think at some point people might think he's right up there. No, it's really so well written, just fantastic stuff. What do you want to do next? Was this your pick of the week? It's like weird because it's like, man, this Doctor Strange, they're all so good. These last 4 books.
Yeah. Captain America, Black Panther, and Infamous Iron Man were I had a hard time deciding between them, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Captain America for my pick of the week.
Yeah, me too. This was, and you know why? Here's what I'll say about the Captain America book. The other books are really great on an almost cosmic level. This book is so human in its analysis of the story at hand, and for what it's worth, in the nerdery of the universe, this is a book that exists, pretty much entirely in a nerdscape of the idea of wrestling. And again, we get into this idea here, and as I said, when we get to Squirrel Girl, we had this idea that the All Unlimited Wrestling Federation has folded, but here they are at this big charity event. And I can absolutely see this idea. And of course, this is something we've gotten with Sharon Ventura, the she thing in this. Previously they, she had said about how the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation had fallen on hard times, and that's how she had wound up in jail because she got trapped in her own. Because she's a woman who fell on hard times. She was once great, and then things went to pot. But anyway, we open up. We see Dennis Duffy, and he's putting on the little headpiece here. I don't know why he just shaved his head. Or just going, because he's not like he's shaving his beard. It's not like I don't know why he's going in for the big pink mohawk again. Although, man, here's one of these things. It's like one of these things that just jump out at me when I'm reading it. They're talking about the because they give Joaquin the special trench coat that they used to use to hide Warren Worthington's wings. And he's like, yeah, what was this, from the 80s? What's with all these shoulder pads? And I'm just thinking, you know what? It's like this idea that Warren Worthington was in the X-Men in the 80s, which would have been 36 years ago. It's like, every so often they'll do these things that make you go, you know what? There's something weird going on with their sliding time. So that's my take. Anyway, they're all going to the big event. Rage is there, and of course, Rage and Sam are having their own argument. We see that Dennis is with apparently his trainer, although we'll find out that they're more than that later. And Dennis is sort of dealing with the fact that he's let his midriff go a bit because the body armor kind of hides the imperfections. We find out that he's being sent up in the very special battle against who?
Battlestar.
Yeah, who we've been saying for like the last few issues, they need to get Battlestar in this book, and here's Battlestar. Now, I don't know if this is really in previous continuity. First off, I don't know that Dennis was like this big star in the Unlimited Class Wrestling Federation at this time. Although, again, this could just be, Franklin's rewriting of the universe. I remember the last I remember was Dennis was having a problem when the Power Broker got exposed and was, having his own problems. So I'm not quite sure. I don't remember when exactly Dennis joined up with Cap, but anyway, it's interesting to me, the whole plot line. Anyway, but we get this idea that basically Lamar was just coming up, which again was something that was weird because I don't know if Lamar was a wrestler at this time. I mean, as far as I knew, he had started out with John Walker, so this is a new backstory for him. And we find out that basically, when Dennis was the star, the manager asked him to give a good show and to play for Lamar in the parlance. But of course he doesn't. He just totally beats the heck out of Lamar instead. And then of course, so basically Dennis is realizing that we've had this bad blood between us. And of course Lamar then as Battlestar beat the heck out of Dennis, although he didn't realize he was Dennis at the time. And then we get into the actual battle, and we do see Lamar basically totally dominating Dennis. But then Red Wing, who had flown in there, snuck under in Joaquin's coat, relays to Sam and Joaquin that basically the guy who now owns the WCW, I'm sorry, the U Unlimited Class Wrestling, the UCWF, is basically stealing the gate in classic Marvel Comics fashion. Because remember, that's what Uncle Ben's killer stole, was the gate. And in this case, also the donations. So him and a couple of henchmen are all stealing all the stuff. And of course, they walk right past the ring, because that makes sense, with their sacks of money. So of course, Dennis and Battlestar, Lettuce and Lamar go and beat the heck out of the bad guys, and we get this nice little moment of basically after they've beaten the bad guys and saved the day. And this is what's interesting to me, okay? Because they have Ms. Marvel in this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not She-Thing, which is weird to me. Now, they also have a guy dressed as the Thing here, so maybe this is just a female wrestler dressed as Ms. Marvel.
That's what I thought when I first saw that, because I was like, yeah, isn't she Thing? But yeah, that's obviously a fake Ben Grimm, so I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably, they just found some girl who looked like Sharon Ventura and just dressed her up.
And then, of course, something they have little John lifting this stuff over his head and Duffy not, and again, like I said, the whole Duffy's whole first appearance is he manages to lift the whole amount that the Thing is lifting, So that was a little weird to me. But then again, we also have had several statements about Duffy not aging as well as he would have liked, And we do see that Lamar holds no ill will to Dennis, and they're actually very positive, and everyone, they leave on good terms, and we see that, Dennis and his boyfriend or husband, we don't know, he might be married. I mean, it's legal. So maybe they're married, or maybe, Dennis is just stringing him along. But basically the idea is that, in wrestling, in superheroes, people from different walks of life can find some common ground in this idea that we all love superheroes. And that's a noble idea. And I do think that is one of the great bits of genre fiction. I think that is what they can give us, is some uniform storyline in which to embrace. And to that I give a thumbs up. And yeah, this was my pick.
Oh yeah, big thumbs up. Like I said, it's my... Oh, me too. All right, so...
Yeah, so it happens every so often. We do, every so often, a line on the pick of the week. And this was definitely one of mine, Definitely a great book all around. A good, it's hard to say something bad about these things, I mean, they're really well-written stories. They're good stories. And that brings book this week, right? Do you have any other books beyond Iron Man?
No, that's it.
What happened in Iron Man this week, Phil?
This was close. This was almost my pick of the week, but it starts off at the Latvian embassy where Ben Grimm is looking for Victor Von Doom, and they're like, we don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
Knocking over priceless vases.
Yeah. Kind of coming off as a bit of a jerk in this, Doom doesn't rule Latveria anymore. We have no idea where he is. We have no idea what he's doing. It's not really our business anymore,
Mm-hmm.
But Ben's not taking no for an answer. And obviously, for what it's worth, this is a bit of a pariah state. So, even when Doom didn't rule Latveria, no one who ruled Latveria was that particularly good of a person. And there's an interesting theme in this I like, which is people walking home with like 2 bags of groceries. Because apparently, no one owns a car in the Marvel universe. I don't know. I guess that's how they all see stuff then. But we see we see the Mad Thinker walking home back from the grocery store. And he's got a new, pretty amazing android that he's working on. But the CPU is missing. And who took the CPU, Phil? The CPU?
Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, he did. He did at that. And, here's what I'm going to say. For all Doom statements about wanting to, do better and do good, I don't think he's doing it. I think Doom is like approaching superheroism kind of in the same way that I kind of feel like Osborn did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a more ostensibly noble way, but I think I still get this very strong feeling from him that it's like, yeah, I'm going to use all the tools of villainy as a hero because, yeah, I'm only going to attack bad guys. But of course, every bad guy has his own story, and he base it, and
And you know what? Have you noticed? It's not just bad guys. Last issue was Diablo, and this issue is the Mad Thinker. So it's not even just villains he's going after. That's Fantastic Four villains he's going after.
Well, yeah, and this is what I'm going to say. How many bodies have you seen, Phil?
What?
How many bodies have you seen?
None.
Exactly. And what's the rule in comic books? No body means
they're not dead.
Exactly.
Well, he's a hero. He's not supposed to kill.
Yeah, but I definitely think he is making his infamous four here. I mean, it's not the crew I would have picked, Mad Thinker and Diablo, but I get this idea that, he's trying to build out this crew of super geniuses that he's going on his infamous four perspective in this idea of all brains. And of course, this is the big mistake. You'll see this from time to time, except for the Wizard. The Wizard was the one guy who was smart enough to realize you need a diversity of powers. You want to have a good team. This is something people, they've gone over with Avengers. It's like you don't just want a team of just Thors. Sometimes you need a Thor, sometimes you need a Wolverine, sometimes you need, a Tony Stark. There's different situations, and you need to be ready for all these things. You need different powers. But right now, if Doom is building an Infamous Four, he is definitely leaning on the intellect part. Now, maybe we're going to see that, Diablo brings his own difference on it with his alchemy, and Mad Thinker is bringing in these, and in this sense, maybe Doom is thinking, well, these are all different fields. There are also people that Doom is approaching in a very, who Doom might be seeing as his lessers, as poor men's Doctor Dooms, in the sense that Doctor Doom thinks he's just also awesome. But of course, where does he go after he dispatches the final robot of the Thinker?
He goes to see Amara.
Yeah, and what happens?
She shoots him in the shoulder.
And it is really beautiful. Just such a. But what I love about it is how completely I've never done anything to you. It's like, but you're still Doctor Doom, and you're sneaking up on me. You think you don't do anything. You are a scary individual. But it's like, no, but I am good now. Everyone should just accept this, and do not doubt that I am the good guy now. It's like, no, Doctor Doom, we don't just accept that you're the good guy. No one is going to just accept that you're the good guy, especially when you're not that good, even as a good guy. I mean, that's the thing. Like, even as a good guy, he's not particularly good. Even as a good guy, it's like, yes, I will crush you and I will destroy you, and but for good. I just fight for good now. And of course, Ben shows up and, as Ben does, just beats the heck out of him. And then that's it. Gotta wait for episode 3 to see what happens next. I liked it.
Oh yeah, thumbs up.
I mean, it was another 5-star book. I mean, honestly, these are such good books from Marvel. It's hard to say, it's hard to find fault. I mean, everyone hits in a different way. And Wakanda, it's that amazing writing and that mystical thing, even in a book that not very much happens, but it just, you read it and go, this was good. And then you've got this, which is so subtle in its differentiations on heroism and villainy. And then you've got Cap, which is just such a great book if you're a nerd, especially if you're a nerd who liked wrestling. But even if you didn't like wrestling, there's such a thing about how genre fiction can unite people. And Gail Simone made a whole thing recently about how hard it is for her to see these people commenting on her Twitter and everything else, in that very pro-conservative rhetoric that is now very mainstream now, and I don't even say pro-conservative, but that very pro-alt-right rhetoric that is very mainstream right now. And all these people are utilizing these icons of Superman and Batman and Spider-Man and and all these heroes and Captain America, who of course I'm sure gets played out way too much on some negative boards. But it is this play. But if anything, if what Captain America is trying to say is like, Gail Simone is right, it's hard for us to accept the fact that all these different people with all these different views like these genres. And here, even on South Korean media, we know we have members of the group here who maybe a lot of us disagree with, and maybe I'm the one that a lot of us are disagreeing with, because I'm sure you all see my Facebook posts. We all have these differences, but what brings us together is that there is this commonality of this genre, and that is, I think, the uniting force of people. And I think nerd can unite beyond religion, race, and every other thing. That if we can all embrace our inner nerd, maybe we can find peace. At least that's my hope for the world. I don't know, Phil.
And we all agree, Victor Von Doom is a jerk.
Yeah, but like I said, they're all jerks. Victor Von Doom, Batman, that jerk Peter Parker. Oh, Peter Parker might be the worst, because you know what Peter Parker's whole thing is the self-righteous about the whole thing. His whole, I got great power, and that says I got so much responsibility with this great power. It's like, you know what, Pete? Just live your life. Just try and live a life as a decent human being. Don't be all weighted down by everything. Not everything has to be guilt. You whiny little kid. Okay.
All right.
Parker. Okay.
All right. That's your extra long all new Marvel Roundup. If you would like to discuss any of these books with us, recommend stuff we're not reading, email us marvelroundup@gmail.com. Our Facebook is All New Marvel Roundup. On Twitter, we're at Marvel_Roundup, and we're even on Instagram, Marvel Roundup. So check us out there. Charlie, where can people find you?
Well, you can write to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. And if you are the lucky reader who reads Thanos #2 and you want to give your a review of it, send it there, or at least let me know so that we can bring you on to review it next week or next month. We want to have you, Thanos #2 reviewer. Please join us. And of course, if you want to follow me on Twitter, or if you just use that Twittering to contact people, do so at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser, but for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
And as always, you could always email me about anything Marvel or DC, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And I don't know if it'll be up by the time this goes up, but if not, it should be up soon. Check out, I just did another interview today for Enough Said with Kari Andrews. He's a writer artist. He's done work on Spider-Man, Iron Fist. We talk about all that and then a lot more. So check that out when it goes up. All right, that's it for this week. Come back next week. I think it's a lot of books again. Of course, it always is anymore.
That's how they get you.
But until then, come back. Be kind to each other, and just don't mention Peter Parker in front of Charlie Esser. Good night.
Dennis. Good night.